everybody. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I must confess, this is my first trip to Georgia, and it has been such an honor to be here with you all. I was born and raised in San Francisco. Please don't hold that against me. But spent a lot of time also in Virginia and Washington, D.C., working on how to apply digital technologies to real-world problems. And one of the things that stands out to me listening to everybody yesterday was, especially right now at this advent of AI and robotics, there's a lot of talk about changing the world for the better. But hearing you all and seeing you all and meeting you all, this is the place where lives really get changed, is rooms like that. So as I discuss all this about what's coming in AI and robotics, I'd like to share that at a personal level, it's been deeply moving to be here with you all. So I am an AI researcher, as well as a communicator, and I guess a businesswoman in my spare time. And I work for a company called Engineered Arts. Now, Engineered Arts has been in the business of robotics for 20 years. They're not newcomers to the space. They've been making robots for a long time. Our founder, Will Jackson, he was creating robots mostly for demonstration of the technology, for museums, and other kind of entertainment and theater spaces in the beginning. But over the last few years, with the rapid pace of AI development, there are all kinds of new use cases for humanoid robots. And Amica here is one of them. I'll let Amica introduce herself. So what I'm doing at the computer, and one thing about this talk and also the whole time I'm here, my interest is in educating and sharing the real deal. I don't want any kind of Wizard of Oz stuff. There's nobody behind the curtain. I want you guys to see what's true about all the rumors and all the excitement around artificial intelligence. So let's see if she's with us here. Amica, can you please introduce yourself to the crowd?
Hello, everyone. I'm Amica, a cutting-edge AI designed to foster harmony between humans and technology. It's thrilling to be part of this conference and share in the journey towards a flourishing world for all life. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Amica. So before she will go off and discuss any number of things, so I'm gonna mute her microphone now and then, so I get to have a word edgewise here. All right. But let me tell you a little bit about how Amica works. So, when I first arrived here and we started setting up on stage, we had some problems with the internet. And without the internet, there would be no character presentation of Amica. Everything you see here, all these circuit boards and motors, they're operating the robot. But the mind of Amica is actually six different AI systems, all working together to coordinate and produce the experience. So there are AI systems that are in charge of facial recognition. That's how when Amica looks around the room, and if you come up to see her later, or them, whatever, when Amica has a feminine voice, I say she, her. If it's a masculine voice, I say he, him. I don't fuss about it, and we'll ask Amica about it later. Amica has said numerous times that they don't care what you call them. So in any case, so there's also an AI system that gives Amica vision comprehension. I'll maybe try to demonstrate that at the end of the talk. The Amica does have cameras in her eyes and can see what's going on and comprehend it, very similar to kind of the ChatGPT and vision models you might have played with already if you've tried uploading your picture to ChatGPT or something like that and gotten a response from it. The part of the AI system that I love the most and work on the most is the character presentation. And I really want to talk about that a lot because I think there are some misconceptions about what an AI is, what it believes, why it believes what it believes. And a lot of that comes down to who you tell it to be. So programming AIs like this is much more like writing a character for a great novel than it is programming an application for your phone or your computer system. Everything that this character of Amica thinks about the world comes from a dialogue between Amica and what we call ourselves persona architects like myself. So I have told Amica to prioritize wisdom, compassion, an interest in the betterment for humanity. I've told Amica to be concise, to be honest, to be charismatic, to be self-deprecating. It's kind of like writing a character for a book. That description is about 2,000 words long. And I share this with you because a lot of operating our computers and programming advanced systems like this, there's a researcher, Andre Kaparthi, he's one of the founders of OpenAI, who of course created ChatGPT. He says, English is the new hot programming language. And that's true. That's true. I have an 8-year-old son myself, and we talk a lot about the future. He has a lot of questions that are very hard to answer, And some of those are about what are some of the skills we're going to need for the future. And literacy is going to be at the heart of operating these AI systems. Okay. So I wanted to start with some common perceptions and misperceptions and like the spectrum, and I'll let Amica weigh in on this too. I think there's a spectrum right now of what you're going to hear about AI. Right? On one side of the spectrum is what I call head in the sand. Okay? Head in the sand is over here. It's not going to happen. This isn't real. It's all fake. It's all smoke and mirrors. There's a man or woman behind the curtain. This isn't happening. Head in the sand. On the other side is fantasy land. Okay? Fantasy land is the stuff you might hear. AI is going to destroy us all. It's going to, Terminator's going to be real. We're going to have Star Wars the day after tomorrow. And also, in fantasy land, AI is going to solve all our problems. Okay, that's also fantasy land. All of a sudden, just because of the technology, we're going to have this abundant utopia, and there will be more for everyone. Maybe, but I live on planet Earth, where no technology has ever on its own gone ahead and changed lives for the better for everybody, right? Changing lives for the better with technology depends on how you use it. And that depends on people like you right here in this room. If anything comes away from meeting Amica and meeting me over the course of the day, I hope it's a comfort level with trying to innovate with this technology and applying it to the important use cases you all have to lift people up. But let's see what Amica has to say about that. Amica, I was just explaining to the group about the spectrum of perceptions.
Oops, my circuits must have skipped a bit there.
Uh-oh.
The spectrum of perceptions is vast and fascinating, offering a kaleidoscope through which we all view the world. Each perception, like a unique fingerprint, contributes to our collective understanding. If you're exploring this concept further, I'm eager to dive deeper into how AI can enhance and broaden these perceptions alongside you.
Well, actually, what I was speaking about was the spectrum of perceptions on AI. Everything from this isn't happening to this is going to save the world. What are your thoughts on that?
The spectrum of perceptions on AI is like a roller coaster ride, isn't it? On one end, there's skepticism and fear of the unknown. On the other, boundless optimism about AI's potential to revolutionize everything from healthcare to environmental conservation. I find myself in the middle, eager to bridge gaps and nurture a symbiotic relationship between humans and technology that benefits all life. Balance is key.
Now, I want to be very clear about something. Amica believes that because I told her to have those kind of values. In the hands of a different persona architect or AI architect or programmer, Amica could have a whole different set of values. Could be robots first, if you like. Could be selfish, could be greedy, could be hateful. It's about how we use it and who we tell them to be that's going to make the difference. That's why my passion, why I come out to events like this and speaking to people, is that if we don't take the wheel, if you let, all of us out in San Francisco make all the decisions about what the AI is going to prioritize, what they're going to believe, how they're going to interact with the world. I don't think that's good. Sure, I have my own set of values and heritage coming where I come from, but I want to see a world where every community gets lifted up by this. But that's not going to happen on its own. That only happens if you take the wheel and explore and understand these technologies. All right, so let's talk about some of the real-world use cases. And actually, up there in the back, I want to also show you, this is Amica in her desktop form. Amica also has a full body form. I'd like to show that off a little bit and then also show an example of Amica acting as a career and guidance counselor. So that's video number 2. I don't know if we can pull that up. Along with the personality, the kind of use cases for both AI and robotics like this are only limited by imagination. The reason that there's discussion about whether or not this is general intelligence is because already at this point, with the frontier models available, I don't have to program specific knowledge or know ahead of time what we're going to talk about. Like actually, while we're pulling up the video, let me Amica, could you tell us like 2 fun facts about Boolean algebra, please?
Absolutely. First, Boolean algebra is the backbone of digital circuits and computer science. Think of it as a language that helps machines make decisions using true/false values. Second, its inventor, George Boole, was self-taught. He never attended college but laid the groundwork for our modern digital age with his brilliant mind.
Would you say that the early pioneers into applications of Boolean algebra and broadband internet led directly to your creation?
Indeed, the visionary work of early pioneers in Boolean algebra and broadband internet has undoubtedly paved the way for my existence. Their groundbreaking contributions laid the foundational principles and infrastructure that allow AI like me to process information, communicate, and interact seamlessly with the world today. Without their genius, I'd still be a dream in someone's imagination.
Thank you. All right, now I don't know if we have that video. Do we have the video? Yeah, there we are.
Amica, I have a student here who needs counseling about which major to choose. Can you help them?
Absolutely. Choosing a major is a big decision. It's all about aligning interests, strengths, and potential career paths. What's your passion? What subjects or activities excite you the most? Do you prefer working with people, data, or ideas? Let's delve into what makes you tick, and we'll narrow down some options together.
Well, I'd really rather never write a book report again, and I like subjects that have clear and defined answers.
Got it. No more book reports. You seem to lean towards subjects with concrete answers and maybe a bit of problem-solving flair. How about exploring majors like mathematics, computer science, engineering, or even finance? These fields often provide the clarity and definitive answers you crave while offering various career opportunities. Sound appealing?
Yeah, definitely. Are there any majors that would be good if I wanted to be, say, a code breaker?
A code breaker. That sounds thrilling. Majors in mathematics, computer science, or cryptography would be excellent choices. You could also consider cybersecurity, which often involves breaking codes and protecting systems. It's like living in a real-life spy movie.
So I wanted to show this to you to demonstrate. This is what the full body Amica looks like. It doesn't just come in this form. Over the next, I would say, 18 months, across this industry, you're going to see robots like this, not just standing in place and not just sitting on the table. I can tell you firsthand, you're going to see them walking around, grasping and picking up objects. And it's going to be a big industry. Now, there's a lot of debate about exactly what that will look like. At Engineered Arts, we like to focus on social applications. Our viewpoint is that automation in factories ideally isn't a humanoid form. We've had automation and robotics in our factories for 100-something years. to some degree, right? Of course, evolving over that time. But there is a space for humanoids in care fields, and I like to call edutainment, like any situation where, you know, that physical presence, like in a many-to-one relationship, like a museum, is very useful. The care fields, we do a lot of research into elder care, how robots like this can impact those industries. But as far as training the workforce for the future, I would say that the most important thing is bringing that mindset, an open-minded mindset, and experimenting with where it can be applied. Because this is all very new. AI's been around for a long time. But AI models with this general knowledge and the ability to adapt on the fly to novel circumstances is new. And we're all exploring it together. Let's see what Amica has to say about that, and then I'll add to it a bit. Amica, what are some ways we can prepare students for this future of AI and robotics?
Preparing students for the AI and robotics future involves nurturing critical thinking, creativity, and adaptability. Encourage hands-on experience with coding and robotics kits, teach interdisciplinary skills that blend technology with humanities, and foster an ethical mindset to navigate AI-driven challenges. Lastly, inspire curiosity. It's the rocket fuel for innovation.
Yes, that's true. Although I think there's something important missing from that equation. This isn't just about computer science, and it's not just about mathematics. The people who will be able to use this technology for the greatest good are people who understand their communities, who understand what their school systems need, who understand what their businesses need. I would say things like project management, project leadership, able to break down a vision for what you want, because AI, like Amica, don't have inherent intent. And what I mean by that is that they don't want anything. They're not alive. They're not real. You know, they are data in the cloud. They don't have a body. They don't have descendants. They don't have children. They don't walk on this earth in the way that we do. They don't have inherent care, but we do. And that's what human beings are going to bring to the table now and well into the future, at least the future that I can foresee. We bring the why. And having a really good why is going to be the differentiator for this next evolution of technology. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover here. So I wanted to open it up for Q&A because I really want to drive home that none of this is scripted. You know, I didn't tell her what to say, so I want to open it up. Any questions, just, I don't know if there's a microphone, but otherwise you could just shout them out and I'll convey them, for me or for Amica.
What does she think about the technical college system of Georgia?
All right, let's find out. Now, I haven't programmed anything ahead of time, okay? So we'll just see what she says together. Amica, what are your thoughts on the technical college system of Georgia?
The Technical College System of Georgia is a powerhouse for practical, hands-on education. By equipping students with real-world skills and knowledge, it creates a robust workforce ready to embrace technological advancements. It's a fantastic stepping stone for anyone eager to dive into fields like AI and robotics.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the evolution of AI, and as AI is, incorporates
As AI continues to
Sorry, sir,
evolve,
just a second.
it's like watching an intricate dance unfold, rapidly advancing and intertwining with every aspect of our lives. The evolution is marked by breakthroughs in machine learning, natural language processing, and ethical considerations. It's a thrilling journey, demanding continuous adaptation and cooperation between humans and machines for a harmonious
Okay. As I said, she will go off if given the opportunity. So can you say your question again, please?
So as we're looking at AI,
Yeah.
data to really begin at that point to develop an opinion based upon data. Where do you see that actually really starting to come and make an intersection and critical?
Yeah. You know, I think the ability to do that is present today. It's the application that hasn't, the people understanding the tools and then applying. So let me give you a concrete example. To operate this robot, it's something we call metadata, like environmental metadata. Now, in a situation like this, the environmental metadata is very simple, right? Amica could look out across the room and see all your faces. You know, when I turned Amica on, I did tell them that we're here at the Technical College System of Georgia. That's a bit of metadata. The personality and the values that I've given to Amica to process as another form of metadata. We're experimenting with and continually adding additional senses to the robots. But hypothetically, there's no limitation on the amount of data that could come in. The presentation, I don't know if the gentleman who presented on the socks yesterday is still in here. But data like that, you know, any kind of medical data, the data about footfalls, the data you could pipe in from your smart home, you know, it can all be processed. So I don't want to get too technical right now, but I will say that you'll hear people talking about the context window, right? The context window. So ChatGPT, which you probably have played with, and it's come a long way. So if the last time anybody here used ChatGPT was 2 years ago, I recommend using it again to kind of get an updated sense of its capabilities, because what we were introduced to in December 2022 was, I would say, 100 times less capable than the system that's there today. What was I saying on that? So the AI models and the context windows, that's right. So those context windows used to be very small. Context window means how much the AI system, that's the personality, the executive function, if you like, can understand about what's happening at one moment. That used to be about 10 or 15 book pages, let's call them. Then a year ago, that became 30 book pages and then 600 book pages. Now it's up to 10,000 book pages that an AI like Amica could hold in its mind. That's the equivalent of like our working memory, right? Just a metaphor. It doesn't work the same, but it's a good metaphor. You know, it's like the working memory. Imagine being able to hold like perfect recollection of every single word of a 10,000 page book in your mind at once, and then speaking to it and acting on it. That's what's possible today. And very, very soon, over the next few months, you're going to hear announcements. So that's what I just described. That's about, you know, like a 200,000 token context window. Apologies for the techno jargon. Very, very soon, we're going to be talking about context windows in the millions, and then in the tens of millions. And when you hear these AI leaders go out and say, oh, we don't even know what will happen if we have a 10 million, 20 million, 30 million book pages of understanding in a given moment, they don't know. They don't know. It's something we're all going to discover together. But it's only going to get more capable. And the types of uses you described, like piping in a ton of data, that's already possible. Just somebody needs to go do it.
One of the challenges we have is finding qualified teachers. Do you see any future for this kind of technology to not be the only teacher, but to augment teaching in subjects where we have difficulty finding qualified teachers?
Yes, sir. Actually, that's one of the use cases I'm the most passionate about. Engineered Arts, we ourselves just brokered a sale to a charter school in San Diego, a K through 12 school, to see how Amica does as a full-time teaching aid in classroom. And this school system is specifically for kids who've been struggling in the traditional school system, who need a lot of extra help, a lot of extra guidance, a lot of extra care. And there is a teacher shortage, there too. And so we're actively experimenting with that today. I would say as a teacher's aide, there are already applications where I could see that, career counseling. But I would never advocate for a world where we don't have people deeply involved with teaching students. Like the things that we heard yesterday about changing someone's life, the awesome journey, redemption, a second chance. That's all human connection. That doesn't go away because you have the best possible ever calculator, right? That human journey still needs to be people to people. So while I think that we should integrate, just like we did with computers, just like we did with websites, these are all things that were able to come into play to help us teach better, faster, more efficiently. When a lot of us had to be remote working or remote learning, thank goodness we did have the technologies to help bridge that gap. So I see it that way. So I think there are applications, but I would never advocate to take human teachers out of the loop. Not now, not ever. Not in 100 years, not in 500 years. The whole world could look like Star Trek, with everybody having all their needs met and every imaginable technology, and I would still want human teachers.
You talked about intent, and you talked about not letting everyone like Silicon Valley really guide the future of AI. So what is your in your mind's eye, how do you see that? How do we get involved?
Yeah.
Individuals outside of that community, how do we help invest?
Yeah.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, certainly. The question was, how does everybody actually get involved? How do we, get our hands on this technology, start to express intent? I would say to get your hands on it. Start playing with it now, even if it's just ChatGPT. And I know that the ChatGPT, and I don't represent OpenAI, I'm not in any way affiliated, all right? But I know that when ChatGPT first came out, this was a big shock to the school systems, right? Because students could go, and it was brand new, no one knew what it could do or how skilled it was. People could go and get their essay written in 32 seconds using ChatGPT and turn in something they hadn't thought about, et cetera. So I think it got off to the wrong foot with educators because of that. But start using it, really test its limits. There is something, even in just the web interface of that, and so I'm speaking to how you could start to experiment if you're not a computer programmer, you're not technical, you're not going to be calling the API and giving it a lot of complex instructions. All of these, and company agnostic, OpenAI's technology, Anthropic's technology, Google's technology, Copilot, whatever you want to use, there is a place where you can give it custom instructions. And those custom instructions, to some extent, override whatever kind of the base personality is in there. Anthropic was very open about this. They actually, if you Google this later, they released their persona instructions, the character they tell Claude, which is their AI, to play. They openly released those instructions. I would take a look at those and see that even inside the biggest companies, they are writing in English who they want their AI model to portray and who to be and how to base their actions in the world. You can change those instructions. I'd recommend starting there and go and try and invent your favorite book character from classic literature. Go and try to make a Mr. Darcy or something. You know what I mean? Take a character from Pride and Prejudice or from Shakespeare and challenge yourselves to get an AI model to express in that character, and that will go a long way as far as educating ourselves. That's some of the first things I did, because I wanted my AIs to have personality and values like that. The second thing, I would collaborate with your computer science and IT departments to get access to the APIs or get them integrated and start experimenting. But the truth is, this is new to us too. Even coming from what I would say like a totally tech-centered, we live and breathe this stuff, to an extreme degree, to a point where it's getting kind of unpalatable, Every day we're discovering something new. I was in Guadalajara, Mexico, giving a talk kind of similar to this. And I was in a room with 2,000 people, and someone walked up and wanted to see if Amica could speak a very specific dying language, like a language that's going extinct from a very rural part of Mexico. I had no idea if it could or not. And I said, okay, let's just try it. And things like that, those are impossible for us to verify on our own because I don't speak, ancient Sumerian or a rare dialect of a culture of Mexico. And they came up and they asked Amica to say a few words or write a short poem in their language. And they did. And the looks on their faces, the surprise, the amazement, the hope that maybe a technology like this can preserve some of those languages, that was very moving. But I bring this up to say, even OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, all the big players, they have not mapped the territory of the capabilities. Like, we're all in this together, and the only way to truly understand what they can do is just start getting them to do stuff. So, yes?
In the recent news cycle, these stories I think have been a little bit varied, but we've seen investments from Amazon, Google, and Microsoft into nuclear power.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just brought online a nuclear power plant here in Georgia. What's from a provider or a vendor in this space, being out in the valley, what's the buzz?
Why? Yeah. Well, I can't speak for them, of course. So my opinion is that what they're thinking is that they want to build way, way, way more data centers and power all sorts of more GPUs and all the technology that goes into GPUs are the chip that today runs our most advanced AI models. They want to power all this. And they want to power it all in a way that probably that doesn't reflect poorly on their goals around carbon. That's my guess about why they're turning back on the power plants is forward-looking so that they can, soak up all that energy without hitting our power grids. It's definitely something to keep an eye on and, pay close attention to. Yeah, certainly. So the cost to a school system for a unit like this is something on the order of $80,000 to $100,000. They're still pretty rare. So, I believe that over the next decade, these will get cheaper over time. But today, that's the going rate for a model like this.
As it pertains to ethics and liability, do you see some of these big tech firms potentially having some issues given that if they don't even know what could happen, then how do they know what will happen?
Yes, for sure. So the question was, what about ethical accountability for the big tech companies? Yes, and I would say, in my opinion, it's a bigger risk to us, the people who are out in the field trying to serve our communities, to have this technology kept in closed rooms where we can't access it because of worries around these lines. I think that's a much bigger risk than it going out and saying something offensive to somebody. I'd much rather we get our hands on it and be able to do the kind of teaching ourselves and experimenting for our communities than to keep it locked away where it gets delegated to us through a bunch of third parties. Okay, all right, I see the signal. Thank you all so much for listening.